Yesterday at this time, you and I saw Ted Cruz make his official announcement for president. The harsh criticism offered from the left, even before that announcement, may have prompted a lot of conservatives to take special notice of the Texas senator's entry into the race. For example, listen to the Jeremiad unleashed by Jerry Brown. The California governor came unglued on NBC's Meet the Press just because Senator Cruz is skeptical of climate change.
It's climate disruption of many different kinds, and that man betokens such a level of ignorance and a direct falsification of the existing scientific data. It's shocking, and I think that man has rendered himself absolutely unfit to be running for office.
While the noxious fumes of Jerry Brown's predictable partisan screed permeated the political atmosphere the day before Cruz announced, following his announcement, there was rhetorical fratricide from a fellow Republican. Listen to what New York Congressman Peter King told Wolf Blitzer on CNN.
He oversimplifies, he exaggerates, and he basically led the Republican Party over the cliff in the fall of 2013. He's shown no qualifications, no legislation being passed, doesn't provide leadership, and he has no real experience. So to me, he's just a guy with a big mouth and no results.
Would you support him if he were the GOP nominee?
I just hope that day never comes. I'll jump off that bridge when we come to it.
No one thrives in the political cauldron that is New York without the ability to offer memorable sound bites. And Peter King is the king in that category. In fact, there is some speculation that Pete King will throw his hat in the presidential ring when all is said and done. But for now, it's just Ted Cruz, the first Republican of note to formally announce, and the first ad of Ted's presidential campaign may surprise you. Take a look.
La historia de Ted Cruz es como la historia de muchas familias estadounidenses. Hijo de un inmigrante cubano, Cruz fue el primer hispano en servir como asistente jurídico del presidente de la Corte Suprema y senador federal por el estado de Texas. Ted Cruz cree en Estados Unidos y en todo lo que representa: fe, libertad y oportunidad. Ahora él quiere asegurar que el sueño americano sea una realidad para las futuras generaciones. Ted Cruz para presidente.
So, Cruz releases his first ad in Spanish, in part to surprise and also to signal that he'll run a campaign of inclusion. Here's the problem. That goal of inclusion may lead to confusion, even if we cut Ted some slack and note that the first ad in any campaign, no matter the language, is introductory and therefore biographical in nature. Choosing to produce the first ad in Spanish sends out some warning signals. First of all, it is not inclusive to separate us by language. Instead of assimilation, bilingual campaigns and candidates promote multicultural mixed messages. Now, it may have been something novel and new to see George W. Bush and Al Gore habla español on the stump in 2000, but that soon gave way to the press 1 for English prompt on telephone calls and a de facto bilingualism that raises a wall of separation by conversation. Let me use the word that was so prevalent in the speech delivered by Senator Cruz yesterday: imagine. Imagine if Ted's first ad began in Spanish, saying this was the language my dad spoke when he fled Castro's Cuba, but then featured Ted himself saying in English, my father soon learned that to succeed in America, he needed to speak English. Just imagine if Senator Cruz had used that approach. Polling has shown for years that Hispanic parents understand that their children need to speak English. But the multi-culti crowd on the left has denied assimilation to newcomers, mischaracterizing an insistence on English in the workplace as, quote, English only. But listen, there is a profound difference between official English and English only. Of course, people should be free to speak what language they please, socially and in the home, but English is a unifier in education, business, and government. That's a lesson that Ted Cruz could have brought home in his first ad if he had only used Spanish as a bridge to talk about English. If only. Imagine. We'll see how this campaign unfolds, but for now, that's the way I see it.